How are you going, everybody? I hope that you have been enjoying BMS 175 so far, and that you have been enjoying the lectures and the tutorials. Right, so what I want to do today, I'm just going to move myself out of the way for a second. We're going to start looking at the digestive system, and that's going to be topic 7. Now with topic 7 is going to be made up of 4 parts. There was lots of animations in this topic, so I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Right, so let's have a bit of a think about the digestive system. What's its job? So let's think about that for a second. This system is designed for us to be able to take in food. So food goes into our bodies. Then this system is responsible for breaking down that food. So we're going to break down the food into its parts. Then we're going to put those parts in the blood for our cells to be able to use. The last thing that the digestive system does is that it gets rid of anything that we haven't broken down or that we haven't used. So as you can see, the digestive system does lots and lots of things, lots of different things related to the processing of food. Okay. So if you look at the organs that make up this system, there are actually 2 categories. The first part is the actual tube, okay? So the muscular tube, and this is called the gastrointestinal tract. Now, if you hear the words digestive tract, alimentary canal, and gastrointestinal tract, they all refer to the same thing, which is this long muscular tube. Then you've got the organs that interact with this tube, okay? So you've got the tube and the things that, and the organs that work with this muscular tube. So right, here we go. So here is your gastrointestinal tract. Can you see that the gastrointestinal tract has different parts to it? Okay, so it starts at the mouth and ends at the anus. And there are different parts to our gastrointestinal tract. And as you know, it is one long muscular tube, and I want you to do a little bit of research, and I want you to find out how long your gastrointestinal tract is. So grab a few sources and write down what they say, and then take the average of that. Okay, so we're looking at the gastrointestinal tract, and it's made up of different parts. So these are all parts of this long muscular tube. Right. Myself out of the way. So the digestive system is made up of the gastrointestinal tract, which is the muscular tube, and the organs that work with that tube. So what I want you to do in this picture, I want you to highlight all the bits that make up the gastrointestinal tract for an activity. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the organs that work with this gastrointestinal tract. And there are a few. We've got the salivary glands, we've got the gallbladder, we've got the liver, and we also have the pancreas. So these are all organs that work with or put stuff into our gastrointestinal tract in order to make sure that everything is working properly, okay? Now, don't forget that our gastrointestinal tract is our long muscular tube, all the way from the oral cavity to the anus. Right, so as an activity, what I want you to do is on this picture, I want you to highlight all the organs that make up the accessory organs of the gastrointestinal tract to make sure, do them in a different colour. Okay, let me move ourselves out of the way. This long muscular tube is made up of layers. We're going to build one of these gastrointestinal tracts from the inside out in order to understand what's in all the layers of this tube, okay? We know it's got muscle, but what else is in there? So let's have a look. Number one. So this is called the lumen, which is the inside of the tube. Lining the inside of the tube, we have stratified, squamous, or simple columnar epithelial tissue. Now, what I want you to do is dig up your notes from BMS 175, and I want you to draw, maybe here, a picture of what that looks like. We did epithelial tissue, so I want you to go back and add a couple of pictures here of what those cells look like. Remember, stratified squamous are like layers of flat pancake cells. And simple columnar means that the cells are sitting in one layer and they look like columns. So go back to 165 and make yourself a little picture to remind yourself what they were. So in that first layer, we have that or that, depending on where we are in the gastrointestinal tract. Okay? What else do we have sitting on top of that? Well, we have connective tissue. Excellent. Now, embedded in this connective tissue, you will have capillaries, like normal blood capillaries, and lymphatic capillaries. So what you can do is you can add them in as red, a little red circle, and maybe a little green circle to add to the picture. What do we have after that? Then sitting on top of that is we have a layer of smooth muscle. Now, can we control smooth muscle? No. Smooth muscle is under involuntary control, so we have no control over its contraction. Okay, let's see what's on top of that. We have another layer of connective tissue. This time we have more blood vessels and then we have some nerves. So you can add those here on this picture, okay? The arterioles can be small red circles. Venules can be small blue circles. Lymphatic vessels can be small green circles. And nerves, you can do them as small yellow circles. So you can add them into this layer just to finish off this picture. What do we have after that? Smooth muscle, and then another layer of smooth muscle. So as you can see, we have lots of smooth muscle in our gastrointestinal tract. Make sure you add arteries, veins, lymphatic vessels, and nerves through this small muscle layer, the smooth muscle layer, to finish off this picture. And then on the top of that, what do we have is that we have some more connective tissue, okay? So we have epithelial tissue, connective tissue, and smooth muscle making up our awesome digestive or gastrointestinal tract. Now here's a more detailed picture of what's in our gastrointestinal tract. Now you can use this picture to have a look and make sure that you've drawn all the things in the right spots. So here is our epithelial cell layer. Here is our connective tissue, smooth muscle, connective tissue, smooth muscle, then connective tissue. So you can see how they're all in there and there's a lot going on, isn't there? Yeah? We're going to look at mesentery in the tutorial, so don't worry too much about it now. Just make sure you understand, what's in the gastrointestinal tract, all the layers. And then as you can see here, you've got glands that feed into the lumen from this connective tissue layer. And there's also glands or things that are actually inserted into the gastrointestinal tract that come from elsewhere. Now, we're going to look at that a bit later on. Okay, so when you process, so the gastrointestinal tract is all about processing food, okay? And processing food, you have to do 6 things in order to be able to process food, okay? Now, the first thing that you do is you ingest food. So activity number 1 is putting food in, okay? Put food in there. Yeah, that's the first thing you need to do. Then we need to swallow the food. Now, I've got a little video here of the process of swallowing that I want you to look at before you move on to the next kind of, before you move on to the next one. Oh, I'll let you watch that and make notes on it. So in the swallowing kind of video, you're going to hear a word called peristalsis. Now, what the hell does that word mean? Well, it just means that, see the red stuff? That's all smooth muscle in our gastrointestinal tract. So when those smooth muscles contract, they actually contract in waves, okay? Let me see if we see there, look at that. Whee! So when they contract, what that does is that helps us move the food from one end to the other end. So peristalsis is good for moving food down our gastrointestinal tract. Okay? That's its job. Okay. Now, this here is another activity that we need to do in order to process food, and this is called mechanical digestion. So here we go. Here is a nice view of inside of your mouth, and this is me chewing a chip. It's not really, but so here is me chewing a chip. Now, what that means is that what I'm doing is I'm breaking down that chip into smaller pieces. Now, when you break down a big piece of food into smaller pieces of food, that is called mechanical digestion. And what is the point of that? Well, the point of breaking down big pieces of food into small pieces of food is that what you want to do is you want to increase the surface area of the food, and that'll become important later on. So where do you think mechanical digestion takes place? Well, it takes place, one of the places where it takes place, it's in your mouth. Yeah? So you push food around with your tongue. That thing at the top is your soft palate, okay? And we push it through and squish it and move it around and make sure it's in smaller pieces. Right. So we know what mechanical digestion is. Mechanical digestion is breaking big pieces of food into smaller pieces of food, but processing food also involves a different kind of digestion, and that is called chemical digestion. So chemical digestion is breaking down the small pieces of food into their chemical building blocks, okay? And this is done by using enzymes, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to go back to your 165 notes and I want you to match these words. So let's do one now to show you what I mean. So we know that proteins are made up of amino acids, okay? And we know that carbohydrates are made up of monosaccharides. So I want you to go back to your 165 notes and finish off this revision activity for me. So chemical digestion is breaking up the food into these kind of building blocks. Okay. Another thing that the that the digestive system does is that we need to absorb things, okay? Absorption. So the digestive system does absorption. Now, what does that mean? It means that food is going to be in your gastrointestinal tract, and we need to get it from in here into the blood. That is absorption, moving things from here into here. And absorption is also moving things from the gastrointestinal tract to your lymphatic capillaries. So there is two kinds of absorption, into your blood and into your lymphatic system. Okay, so absorption is the movement of stuff from in here into in here. Okay, and the last activity that the gastrointestinal system does for us is that it, let's just click out of that. Wait a second, I'm clicking everywhere. Don't want a pen. Yeah, is that it allows us to get rid of things that we don't want, okay, that we haven't broken down or we don't want to use. So it lets us get rid of that. So what I want you to do then, before watching the next video, I want you to watch the video on swallowing and make notes on that. And I want you to watch this video here on the defecation reflex and make notes on that. And that's it for part 1. Woohoo!